he is going to be playing at Ultra South Africa very, very, very soon. His name is Steve Aoki. He needs no further introduction. Welcome back to South Africa, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy, excited about this. Like, I love South Africa. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We love you. You're one of the only ones that haven't moved here yet, like semi-permanently, but I don't think you live anywhere semi-permanently.
It's true. I mean, last year I still did 209 shows, so I it's hard. I mean, like I always look at my house that I actually live in as like my vacation, and the road is my home. It's just I love playing for my fans all around the world, and it's just how it is.
You can't have been in this game this long as you have, and have had the success that you have without finding balance. Now, I'm sure in the beginning stages, it was rock star living, parties, parties, parties.
Mhm.
How do you maintain balance and health, physical, mental, emotional health, while you're doing 200 shows a year?
Um, it's become a passion. I think anytime it's like it's not like a chore to like want to learn how to live. I mean, hacking, I love it like in all aspects of life. Like, how do you do things more efficiently?
Mm.
Whether it's making music in the studio, whether it's working out better, whether it's eating a certain way, whether it's traveling, whatever it is, we all want to do things that are saving us time and doing things in a healthy manner. So, just the idea of biohacking just became, it wasn't a chore. The discipline of it became a passion and it became a game. So I think that's the other thing that like I learned is like the more you gamify things and turn them into fun challenges and like bring your friends into it and track your results and do all that fun stuff and you're constantly educating and you're learning because like the other thing too like the other big point of all of this is as you dive deeper into stuff like this, the idea of learning is always fun. Something new. That's, like knowing that there's so much more to gain. So, I love it. It's like part of my kind of daily regiment is just, keeping my head on straight and keeping my organs, whatever, 76 of them, uh, uh, just just working properly and so that I can do the best shows I can.
Your foundation is committed to researching brains and longevity of the brain and like just the brain in general and
Yeah.
how we can, live longer, better, be sharper at 60, 70,
Yeah.
80 years old. What is the one thing we should be doing, Steve, to be sharp at 60, 70, 80 years old?
The one thing we all need and one thing that I missed out of probably 30 years of my life is sleep.
Oh, I knew you were going to say sleep. Okay.
I mean, it's just the
True.
most basic, most important tenet of life is like because like especially I mean I made a documentary called I'll Sleep When I'm Dead.
Yeah.
So I definitely am like the one guy that you would never hear saying you need more sleep. But I that's one thing that I track. I wear a Whoop, I have a Whoop band. So I track how healthy my sleep is. And I'm trying to get better, healthier sleep so I can preserve my brain like you said, when I'm much older and I don't want I want to reverse any sort of damage I've done in the last 30 years of not sleeping. So yeah, sleep is gotta be the number one.
Reverse. Oh my God, Steve, you're giving me hope, dude. Thank you. We can reverse the damage. Yes. I will start tracking my sleep today. Okay, so you are highly successful. I mean, you are one of the top DJs on the planet. But I want to know, is there still a goal? Is there still something that you want that you haven't had yet? Like when have you made it?
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I really believe that there's, you know, it's not just about music. It's about all the different things I want to do in my life. If I really like boil it down, I would say that I'm at 5% of playing this game of life. Like yes, I have accomplished and I've beaten certain mini games during my long game of life, but I need more time in order to get to that 100% that I actually see. So like all the different things that I want to do and accomplish, you know, I still like I'd have to be like I'd have to live to like what 400 years or something. So I'm you know, part of this is like what we talked about before is efficiency, biohacking, learning how to slow down the aging process, learning how to optimize your brain. So what you do is more effective in the time that you have, because time is such an important asset to us. It's by far the most important thing that we have.
Yeah.
So, you know, live like a dog. They give so much in such a short period of time. I mean, you think a dog is like every day that we're alive, it lived 7.
Hmm.
But like when it's alive, it's running, it's jumping, it's giving love. It's like it's constantly active, you know, and like you have this kind of mentality of life of not wasting those precious moments of your life. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so important. So there's so much to learn, like I said, and there's so much to learn you know, about the brain that's why I'm so obsessed with the brain. There's so little we know. There's so much we could do. I think we learn more about the brain. We could solve a lot of issues that have been plaguing us for you know for you know forever. So whether it's like diseases, whether it's you know slowing down the aging process, whether it's memory, whether it's preserving that memory, whether it's having just higher, better quality of life,
Mm.
you know? So all those things are really important. I think a lot of it stems from understanding the brain and really diving into that whole world.
I am definitely going to take some of your advice, maybe, possibly, hopefully. Um, but you are on your way to South Africa, and I mean, you've played some of the biggest stages in the world. You know, you've played for big, huge audiences. Are there DJs that you follow up from that make you nervous to play, that you think, oh my gosh, I hope that I'm going to be as good as that?
Um, one thing that I've learned through this whole, you know, just you know, trying to be the best artist I could be is to not compare myself to others because every artist is amazing. Like honestly, every artist that I play with, they're all amazing in their own way. And the more like when I love an artist is when they're truly themselves. When they're like at full capacity, when they're super saiyan of themselves and of their genuine nature. And that's like when they play their biggest hits of their biggest records and they're presenting it in that way, they're the most powerful, right? And so they're not thinking about other artists, right? So that's the thing about like, you know, when I think about these big festivals, I'm like Skrillex, you know, is to me he's my favorite. As far as innovation and as far as just moving the culture forward and constantly like what he does so well is that he'll take his sound and he'll constantly change it. He'll say this sound becomes the benchmark of what you know the culture that follows him is. And then the next album isn't the same thing. He constantly just adds more to it and changes and evolves. And that requires, you know, just that step from being like the benchmark to leveling up to that level. That requires a lot of time. It's not like he's like, all right, I built the wheel. I don't need to do any more work. He's like, nah, I'm gonna do more work because I love it. And I think that's what I love to see is just the ideology. So
Mm.
it's not the sound that really like that I'm like, oh God, like this the sound is so much better than my sound. It's more like, wow, the ideology that they're constantly innovating, even where they're at the top of their game, that's what inspires me and that's what motivates me because I can always do that with me, with
Yeah.
my sound, with my culture that I'm creating, and always innovate and you know just learn from that, you know. And you know, my sound and like what like inspires me is not always going to be from when I was like a young kid,
Mm.
you know, because like you go to your roots, right? You go to your genuine values or like or sounds that you love, and that's what people go, well, Steve Aoki sounds like, oh, it's like loud, crazy, thrashy stuff because that's what I grew up with. But 46-year-old Steve Aoki is gonna be inspired by different stuff
Yeah.
than when I was 35, when I was 25, or whatnot. So I'm constantly going to evolve, and I'm constantly going to put that to the test. And that's the vulnerability and of doing something new as an artist is like trying to change your game and making sure that people will still listen.
Well, I'm sure they'll still listen, but that vulnerability scares me. I don't think I could ever do what you guys do. You guys are offering a piece of yourself every single time, every single night. You're giving us of you, and I think that it's beautiful, but it's also very, very scary. And that energy exchange is a place that I don't know if I could play in. But you are going to
Yeah.
come and do that at Ultra. And speaking of up and comers, are there any up and comers that we should be keeping an eye on? Both
Yeah,
local and international.
definitely. I'm gonna give it up to my fellow Asian brothers, Knock 2 and ISO XO. Just incredible producers and DJs, and they're taking the world by storm via America. Like their shows, I cameoed at Knock 2's show in LA and play one of my like oldest records, Warp. And I loved seeing how Warp still like
Hmm.
makes the crowd go crazy to the 2024 crowd, the 2023 crowd when I was with them. But I think what they're doing is incredible. Like the movement that they got with them is something really special. As far as like what's happening in South Africa, I am doing a collaboration with Major League DJs, so hopefully we'll be able to debut that. It's like that's also some news. I haven't really broke that news yet. So, um, you know, I've always been a fan of Afrobeat and amapiano, and I think it's going to be interesting for what people will hear. Steve Aoki, Major League DJs collaboration. There will be some other ones that I'm going to be bringing on stage too. I don't want to give it all away, but I am inspired by the sounds of South Africa, and we'll see what's going to happen.
I'm really excited. Before we chat about Ultra, I saw a TikTok the other day. It's a video, one of the first videos that were taken, and I think it's like an early 1900s. And the caption was, "How does it feel to look into the eyes of someone who was in the 1900s?" And we forget that you are immortalized, right? Your music is immortal. It will live forever. Do you ever think of that? How in 2084 or 2094, you're still going to be around and people are still going to be listening to you and like losing their minds. That must be so cool.
Yeah, to go bird's eye view and look at it like that is something I don't do. Um, I sometimes I get stuck into that my nose to the computer and just get back into the grind of what is inspiring me in that moment, and hoping that it has a cultural transcendence and it really impacts people. But yeah, generationally it's interesting like when you say it like that. I think of it more, but you're right. It's so true. I think of it more like when you think about artists, right? Like the painters.
Mm.
You think of like Van Gogh, and you think of Warhol, and you think of Picasso, and you think of those artists, how some of them, when they're alive, no one really cared about their art, and they had to get like Van Gogh had to get his brother to buy his art, and then and then he had like a crisis and cut off his ear, and then he ended up dying, and then or after he cut off his ear, he paints Starry Night, and then later on he dies, and then boom, it just becomes a. It's like you hear those stories, it's like and they're in they're part of history. Like everyone knows those periods of time because of that art.
Hmm.
So I agree with you. When you go to music and you think of like, Mozart, or you think of the Beatles, or you think of like, artists
Steve
from the
Aoki.
past.
When
Yeah, it's like you don't think that your music will be part of that. Um, but yeah, it is definitely a beautiful thought that it'll be something listened to, like, decades and decades later. You know, it definitely is. It's a thought I
Don't
never
overthink
thought.
it. Don't overthink
Yeah,
it. Okay,
yeah.
cool. Ultra, right? You are going to perform here. We are looking very, very forward to it. What are we expecting from the Steve Aoki sets at Ultra South Africa?
I will be bringing up new. I mean, I'm hoping there's gonna be some artists I'll be bringing up on stage with me that I'll be able to debut some new music. First at Ultra and representing some of the local sounds too. So I'm thinking about this a lot and hoping that I'll have music prepared and ready for that. Um, so that's something exciting that I want to do, and I've been like, just on the roadmap for that. Of course, I got a lot of new music for 2024, and I can't wait to debut that. But I can't forget that they want to hear Steve Aoki records that were part of their EDM, uh, period of EDM like life. So I'm gonna bring that in, and I can't forget my cakes, and I know people will be bringing their signs. So I think Ultra will let me do that. So we're gonna bring in some local bakers, support the local baker economy, and have them help me with my cakes, and we have some fun.
We're looking very, very forward to having you again. Steve Aoki, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.